All right, welcome back to the show. We are live here in the DC TV, DCXM radio studio this afternoon, and I got a great guest here with me, Mr. Coach Proffitt. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Justin. How are you, man?
Man, I'm good. I appreciate you coming up here. I've been wanting to talk to you all week. You know, we're on fall break right now, 2-week fall break. We're in the first week and just coming off the end of the football season. So I've been wanting to have you on just to talk a little bit about how everything sort of concluded. It was a fun atmosphere last Saturday. Had games at 2 and 4 o'clock. You had the consolation game at 2 o'clock between Burns and Harpeth, and then Dixon Middle School against Fairview at 4 o'clock. So and it was all at Homer Hamdorf Stadium. So there was great atmosphere for football that day. Of course, Burns ended up defeating Harpeth in the first game, and then we got to the championship. Yeah. And talk to me a little bit about your team going into that. What was your mindset going into the championship game?
All gas, no brakes, man. I told them the time for teaching football was over with, and it was about completing the task at hand. We had lost to Fairview earlier in the season due to turnovers. We had outplayed them all night, and in the fourth quarter we had a couple of key turnovers at bad times, and it hurt us. And of course, we coach kids, and so, their heads will get down a little bit, but we knew the weather wasn't going to be the same. We knew that we would scale the turnovers back. We felt like we were a better team, that we could do more things, and our kids, man, our kids were focused. Our kids have been focused for a week. You had the playoff game on Tuesday night, and they showed how focused they were. And I was concerned about hangover. They talk about hangover after big games and things, and so I was worried about that. But we brought them in early on Saturday at noon. We had a team meal together, watched We Are Marshall, did a little fellowship, and then started prepping for game things. And they were pretty focused, man. I was pretty pleased. I was excited about the opportunity we had in front of us. So
yeah, it's tough when you play a team for the second time. I think that's really when coaching can kind of come into things, because when you get the chance to look at a team, play against them, and see how you kind of match up with them, and you play them that second time, you really have to make those adjustments. Talk to me a little bit about making those adjustments and playing a team a second time and playing them better than you did the first.
Well, we had 3 films on Fairview. We had ours, and we had 2 other films, actually 3 other films. But the one that helped us the most was the Grace Christian game. They played Grace Christian, common opponent that we ended our season with. And since they had played us, they made some changes in their alignment, sort of. And I told our guys that. And so as we watched film, I said, so here's what they used to do, here's what they do now, and then they moved to almost what they used to do. I said, so in other words, they kind of changed what they do, but they didn't change how they ran the ball or threw the ball out of those things. In other words, they motioned to those things almost, and they would basically do the same thing. I said, and if we do what we're supposed to in the second half, they'll revert to their old stuff, because that's what they're more comfortable with. And it happened just like that. So we were pretty excited. And I tell you, the Grace film helped so much. Grace uses a drone to film their games, and that's the next thing I'm looking into, because the drone, you see everything. And so the kids were able to see where they missed blocks, how they were successful, and so they could see, running backs can see holes that they miss, instead of bouncing out, cut on up in the hole and keep running. So but we prepared for the same Fairview team. We knew we had outplayed them the first game, but the turnovers had beaten us, and we made adjustments to their little adjustments. They even took their quarterback from out of quarterback position at times, put him as a wide receiver. And I said, every time you see that, start yelling, eye candy, eye candy. I said, they'll know that we're on to their game. I said, and they will throw it to him once out of certain things, but for the most part, they're using him to decoy so they can throw the ball somewhere else with number 5. And our boys were right on it. And they called timeout one time, and our players come over and said, "Coach, they keep changing the plays while they're on the field because we're calling out their plays." And so that's how coaching works. My coaches study it really well. We relate to the boys, and by the end of the year, the kids really get film watching, really how to break down film, how to listen, to how to play off of the film. And we even had our kids grading themselves on film. So in their eyes, their parents say, "Oh, you did a good job," but when you score yourself out 40% success on what you were supposed to be doing on plays, kids see, I have to improve. And showing them the physical results of that is important. So it also will help them going forward in high school football.
Yeah, we were able to come and stream the game on the DCTV network on Facebook Live and YouTube, and there was a lot of people watching. You could tell that it was, pretty important to the community. And then I thought it was very noteworthy that after the game that you had, whenever they were taking a picture of the team, you also had everybody that was in the stands, all the Dragon fans, kind of get together. Talk to me a little bit about the community aspect of the team, because I really feel like the whole community was behind the team, but I think that's because you've sort of made the community an important element of your program.
Man, if not for the community, we wouldn't have a football program. I mean, the things that have gone on this year, we have our own AED. We have extra AEDs in our school, and that's important. On my wrist, I had number 72 in green for the young player from Greenville Middle School who collapsed at practice a couple of weeks ago. And a few days later, they took him off life support. But his heart had stopped at practice, right at the end of practice. And so having an AED that travels with us everywhere we go is important to me. You never know. You just never know, because that was at the end of that child's practice that day. The community helped pay for those, and I don't want to throw out particular names, but you and I both know who the first one to step up was, and she's an invaluable person in my life now. So we'll fight for her affection for the rest of our life. But man, the community is awesome. You see the improvements with our facilities down there. The new equipment shed where we put all the equipment from the Visa commercial, all the things. The community is such a big part of our, we have open practices like parents. We have parents sit and watch the whole practice. We don't make them, but we used to we used to not have a lot come, but we have several more come now, and they've taken part in everything we do. Like, they've helped rebuild the rails during practice. They've helped do all the facility improvements and things. And so it's important for the team to understand that we're nothing without everybody that had something to do with it. So it was important to me, the cheerleading coach was on her fall break, so the girls that cheered came on their own, organized and came on their own. We had former players there. I wanted them in the picture. Anybody. And then the whole community in the stands. We wanted them in the picture, man, because we are a community football team, and that's what we love about how we do things at Dixon. It showed in the Thursday night, the last padded hit. We had 18 mothers line up to hit their kids in helmet and shoulder pads and stuff, and that's had over 2,000 views on it. That video has.
Wow.
So what we're doing is right. It's not because we want credit for it, but it's what people want, man. They want to be involved, and that's what we do. We involve people in what we do. We have parents who come to every practice that were at that game, and when we needed a chain crew person, dad steps right up. Former players step right up. There's just different things, that take place that make running our team so much more fun.
Yeah,
than a lot of people. So.
I noticed that too. Whenever I was up watching the game from the top row, so I could get a good view. I noticed several of the football players who are over for the Cougars now contributing to that freshman team. Pretty high contributors. I think I saw Ben Singleton, Hunter Webb, maybe a couple other
Eli
guys
Overton.
too. Yeah. They were there, and they were happy to be there, and I had talked to them at school, and I knew that they were coming. They still have a lot of love for the Dragons, but talk a little bit about that, about having players come back and how that makes you feel, and how that really helps the program.
I can't even name all the kids that came back for those two games, Tuesday and Saturday. I can't even remember them all, but I know Quincy, Martez, Caden Ford, and the guys we've already mentioned. But there's so many more, and they're all always welcome on the sidelines, as long as they don't as long as it doesn't turn into a party. But they understand that. Like, they've been on the sidelines with us. They know what we expect, so they actually are a help being on the sidelines rather than a hindrance. And so it makes us feel good that they want to come back and be a part, and they're always going to be welcome to be a part. And it's just part of the connection, the whole all-in thing that we have on the back of our shirts. And that's not a yearly slogan. That is now what's going to drive us. We're all in. And when we say that, we're not just talking about Dixon Middle School. We're talking about Dixon football, period. Our season's over now, and so now there was a JV game Monday, and I rode the bus, and I'm right up there with them. And Coach T says, he doesn't just allow me to be there, he invites me to be there. And so my intention is to help the continuity of the football program continue to grow and things. And so most boys are happy to see me on the sidelines. Some of them I didn't coach, some of them I don't know, I'm getting to know, but it's nice to be a part of a bigger thing. I made a post a while back on Facebook that our vision and purpose statement, it really is a vision, and there really is a purpose behind it. And we're trying our best to help football get back to what it should be in this county. So
Well, I think you've done a great job. You've obviously seen some success, and I know it wasn't always easy. When you first got here, it's been a while now, but when you first got here, things were tough. Wins were harder to come by, but over the last 2 seasons, you've seen a lot of success. I think it's 3 conference championship appearances in a row, 2 titles in a row, 1 loss in the past 2 years. So things have really turned around. Talk to me just a little bit about seeing some success after working so hard to get it.
Yeah, it's nice. The success is nice, but it's nice to see the boys enjoy the success, to hear their parents. Their parents are really proud, because a lot of the parents are alum of Dixon High School, middle school, junior high school, one of the above. And so they're, like, I've had parents talk to me and cry, because their Dixon Dragon time was a very important time in their life, yes. Very memorable time. And so for their child to be experiencing success at that time is something else. How we approach the program also, like, we've had kids be injured last year in their 7th grade year, but we still include them and we still make them a part. We do everything we can to keep them included. And so that's important to people, that you include kids, whether they're injured, not injured, because the program is a program. It's not a team. And each year you have a team that's a part of your program. And when the last game is over, then you're changed forever, man. You're on to the next team. But it's still the Dixon Dragon football program. And we never want to lose that identity. That's why we're so steeped in the culture and the heritage and tradition of it. And you'll see even more of that as we continue to improve things down at the field. But we have 5 kids that were with us 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So those 5 kids are 25-4. We went 6-3 their 6th grade year. We went 10-0 their 7th grade year, and 9-1 this year. And it's Coach Proffitt's fault we lost that one this year, and I take all the blame. But still, 25-4 is a pretty good record. 19-1 for your 7th and 8th grade seasons. That's really good. And to win 2 championships. And in my eyes, to go into a game with no doubt that you're going to win. I mean, that first touchdown was a tell-all when we threw that, 80-yard touchdown pass to Aiden Ray Holland. My quarterback, Caden True, has just come leaps and bounds beyond what people would ever expect. So we let him show out a little bit and throw the ball around a little bit during the ball game. So he's solid. He'll do what we ask him to do. Does he make mistakes? Heck yeah, like every football player there is. But he bounces right back, got the short memory like we teach, and so we go forward. But they're having success. They've been with the program 3 years. We're glad to see that. That's what builds our program. Manny's a 2-year kid. If we can get them at least by 7th grade, man, they really can grow. We like 6th grade. But, man, we got to have them by 7th grade for them to be able to really contribute. I mean, it makes a difference. And so, by their 8th grade year, then they're able. I mean, Manny's come leaps and bounds. One of the best running backs I've ever coached. So
yeah, he had a really good game.
Really enjoy watching him run.
Yeah.
Down over his pads, low forward, and hard to tackle. And so it's always nice to see that.
Coach, I want to ask you one more question. I think it was Tuesday night during the Burns game that I saw two fellas down on the sidelines, and I thought they looked familiar to me, but I couldn't get a close look at them from way up in the stands where we were trying to get some video. Mm-hmm. And come to find out later on that was Jackie Bledsoe and Johnny Chandler, two Dragon legends. Talk to me a little bit about, getting in touch with them and getting to hearing that they were at the game there.
Well, it was the first time I met Coach Bledsoe. Coach Chandler came to our banquet last year and spoke a little bit, but it was really nice. Like I said, some of our parents are Dragon alum, and one of them had played for Coach Bledsoe and Coach Chandler, and so he invited them to the game. He wanted them to see what was going on with the program and how it's progressing and everything, and so he invited them. I had my wife take my picture with them, and it was kind of nice, and they said some very nice complimentary things, but they enjoyed, and they reminisced about some of the guys who invited them, so they made some comments about that, but they said they were there to watch and enjoy the game, so it was nice to have former coaches come and all the historical aspect of everything going on. So
well, and you and I, we're on the radio all the time. We get on WDKN probably at least once a month on Saturday mornings, and we get talking about the old days of the Dragons. Those are two guys that come up, and the fact that they're still around and coming to the games, I think is really cool. And I'm hoping I've got their phone numbers now, and we've had to go out of town a little bit on the fall break. So, but whenever we get back settled in, I'd really like to interview them. And if you'd like to come with me, I think they would be two guys that I think we'd really like to sit and talk to. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, I'd love to sit and talk with them and hear more about their experiences and things. And I'm always told about the undefeated record of 75 games in a row or something like that. And I talked to somebody the other day, and he said 100 and something games. Like it grow. You know how legends grow, but. And when they bring it, I said, yeah, but it was a junior high school then too. And I asked my coaches this year, could you imagine if we were still a junior high school and we had the kids back from last year with the kids that we had this year? Holy cow, man. I believe we could have played any high school team in the, that were sizable, comparable to our middle school, because those kids that are freshmen this year, along with our 8th graders and 7th graders, man, we would be pretty tough to beat. But,
Coach, I'm telling you, I was at the Dixon Junior High Dragons in the late 90s, and right through the heyday of it. I think I was there the night that we lost the game, and we were all crying, and it was just kind of devastating. But it was, I think I've told you this before, but really to me, the Dragons and that logo and those colors really meant excellence, because that's what you felt like when you got into, back then it was the 7th grade, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. When you got into the 7th grade and you could go play for the Dragons, I mean, it was a big deal, because you knew, you may not win every game, but you knew you were going to be good and you were going to be competitive, because they always had been. And it was a lot of fun going to those games and being a part of that.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see some of the counties have gone back to junior high schools. They have 7th, 8th, and 9th grade together. But they share campuses with the high schools, so the buildings are connected, so you can have freshman teams right on and so forth. I wouldn't mind seeing that here, so that would further branch the continuity together. If you have 7th, 8th, and 9th on the same campus as your high school, but in a separate building, and so it would be really enjoyable to do some things like that. I was just pleased. Some of the parents had asked them to come. They came. That's always a good thing when people you invite a lot of people to do a lot of things. The fact that they took time out of their life at this point in history and came to watch the ball game was really nice. It was us and Burns, the two county rivals that feed Dixon County High School. I'm sure that was a draw. Always look forward to that game, and it was a good turnout that night, and so I was pleased. And I wouldn't care to sit and talk to them a little bit more, when when I'm not crunched for time and things, I'd like to hear some of their experiences and some of their stories about football from the past. So,
well, I put it out there on social media and said I'd like to talk to these fellas, and my inbox got overwhelmed because not only does everybody know them and knows how to get a hold of them, but everybody wants to hear them. A lot of the messages were just, "Hey, man, let me know when you get this interview. I really would like to hear from them." And so, and I've kind of heard through the grapevine that they're probably willing to do it. So, just a matter of getting them up here at a certain time, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. You know, the new Dragons and the old Dragons kind of come together for a little interview. Might be a good time.
Well, and you know, it's going to add to some of the things that we still want to do down the road, like Coaches Row. We want to have markers down there for all the coaches that have been the head coach in the program over the years. And, you know, there's Coach Bradford, Coach Roberts. Scotty was there for a long time.
Did a good job.
Everybody adds to the history of that program, and we don't want to overlook anybody. And so, you know, we rededicated this year to Homer Hamdorf, and so we have a marker up now. But I want to have also a small marker for each head coach, the years they served, so on and so forth, so people can really see the history of the program. And I want it to always be that way, that they think back. I want them to think back while they watch that we're still connected and still. They said we like the gray pants, you know, because there used to be gray pants. I said, well, we wanted to paint the helmets gray. No, leave them maroon. And so it's great to hear the old coaches, you know, with their opinions and stuff.
Yeah,
and so I tell people, you don't think uniform color is important, but it is, man.
Yeah.
Because people stay connected. In the history of the program, people want to think about what it used to be.
Yeah.
And so any little thing you can do is important. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you for taking a minute to come up here during the fall break. I know there's a lot going on, but I told you the other day I was almost called you right after the game, but there was just a lot going on, so I thought, you know what, I'll let him think about it for a couple of days, and then we'll bring him up here. We'll do a televised interview. People love it when we have the cameras, you know. So thanks for coming up here, and congratulations.
Thanks a lot, man. You know, winning 2 in a row, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I don't care what level you're on. Winning 19 out of 20 games is hard to do, and so it feels good to have kids achieve stuff like that and see the look on their faces and their parents. Some of the parents cry when they hug me, some of the moms, and you know, because it's their kid's last game with us and stuff. So that means a lot to me. If it touches them that much, that means a lot to me. So
absolutely, I know exactly how you feel. It's a good feeling to see kids work hard, get to achieve something, and you just being a small part of it, you're just proud, you know.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Coach, again for coming by. I'm sure we'll have you back on again soon. And again, congratulations on the back-to-back conference championships, because like you said, that is pretty hard to do, and we're proud of you. And all of Dixon's proud of you. Like I said before, this Dragons program is the most historic program, you know, in the county. It's the oldest one, and so there's a lot of big fans that are real proud of what y'all did. So just on behalf of everybody, congrats and great job.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks.